closing the month strong and get myself out of the way, because Danny Bay has got some very exciting information that he's going to be covering today. And really, what are we going to be talking about is once you set a goal, the number one thing you want to do is stay committed to your goal, right? This is one of the keys to closing the month strong. This is something that I'm a big believer in, right? Set the kind of goals that are going to make something of you to achieve them, right? So when you set a goal, you've got to set the kind of goals that are going to make something of you to achieve them. And one of the things that really helped me out is understanding the fact that you can make up a month's worth of production in 1 week. When I heard that from my mentor, when I first got started, that helped me out a lot. And then he told me, he said, you can make up a week's worth of production in a day. And that's the reason why right now, gearing up to close out the month is so important. And I want to make sure you know, I love what Confucius said. He says, when it's obvious that goals cannot be reached, don't adjust the goals, adjust the action steps. Because the action steps are what's going to drive the productivity. Because I think a lot of times when people look at becoming successful, they think you either succeed or you fail, right? I think a lot of times that's kind of a misconception about success, is that you either succeed at something or you fail at something. And that's what majority of people think of. But people that are truly successful, they know that success and failure aren't the opposite. They realize that failure is the path to success, that you fail your way to the top, right? If you want to be successful in anything, you're going to have challenges. You're going to have obstacles. And the key is to pick yourself back up and go after it again and again and again. And people that understand that, those are the ones that really become successful at anything that they do. That they realize that failure is not the opposite of success. It's the path to success, right? Is understanding that, how you become successful is you have a failure, you learn from it, and then you get yourself back up, you fail again, you learn from it, and you keep on doing that until you achieve success, right? Until you achieve your goal. So first goal everybody has right now, we're running everybody in our team. We're getting everybody running for manager right now that's brand new. How does someone become a manager? We all know anything that we personally sell or buy, and anybody that we personally enroll, our level 1 planners, whatever they sell or buy, once that translates into 3,000 SP within 3 consecutive months, that's how you become a manager. Up to 1,500 can obviously be from one personal recruit, but we want to make sure that everybody's getting to manager. And we're going to talk about doing that right now. A senior manager then is the next goal, right? How do we become a senior manager? Obviously, anything that we personally sell or buy in our level 1 planners, whatever they sell or buy, that'll all be added together once it reaches 6,000 sales points within 3 consecutive months. Obviously, up to 3,000 sales points from one recruit. Now we know we're a senior manager. Very important to make sure that we're creating senior managers. So impending events are what drive success. This is something that helped me so much when I got started in our profession, because this is something that was taught to me very early on. And I want to talk to you a little bit about impending events, right? My mentor said you either organize or you agonize, right? So let's talk about what that looks like. You got to be asking yourself, who got started in the last 3 months, right? And who got started 3 months ago? Because whoever got started 3 months ago, we know they're coming up on their manager and senior manager deadlines. So we've got to make sure that we focus in to make sure that we help them finish up and wrap up their deadlines, right? We also want to be asking ourselves, who started in the last 30 days? Because we know that the starter set upgrade deadline is what? It's happening, right? So everybody's focused on that. Another thing we're all focusing on is who's a manager and hire that still needs to get their 3 to 5 active customers, right? If you're manager or senior manager, you need 3. If you're obviously higher than a manager, team leader and higher, you need your 5 active customers. So we're helping focus in on what areas need to be focused on, right? We're also looking at who's running for team leader or higher right now, right? Because once a month on team leader and higher is the rank advancements for those ranks. So anybody that's close, we're helping them finish up those qualifications. The other thing we're looking at is who needs their monthly maintenance. Maybe somebody as a team leader hasn't really been too active this month and they still need to get their 10,000 maintenance. So we've got to focus in to make sure that happens, right? Another thing that we're focusing in on is our monthly promotions. We're thinking about who still needs to get the travel set promotion. Who needs to get, who's running right now to get their, get 3 people to unlock their unilevel promotion, right? So there's so many things that are happening right now that are so exciting, right? We're looking at, this is the big one right now that's really driving sales, I want to point out, is who still needs to unlock their unilevel. We've got a lot of people right now that are very close to unlocking their unilevel. And all they need is 1,000 in personal SP and 10 lifetime customers. So we're looking at everybody in our organization right now to make sure they're able to unlock their unilevel, right? So we're doing more pop-ups. So we're demonstrating more products. We're sharing Remon more than ever before right now. And then obviously who's close to the top retailer bonus. We know the top retailer bonus is 2,000 in personal SP plus 20 lifetime customers will get us that extra 5%. Or obviously the 4,000 in personal SP and 40 lifetime customers gets us that extra 10%. So we're looking at everybody's volume right now, making sure that we're helping everybody reach their goals. We're being real organized right now and focusing on using the impending events to drive the success. The biggest thing is we know that the pay period deadline's coming up, right? We know that all the volume that happens in June, all rebates on personal customer orders, all volume, everything's going in right now. We're getting all the volume in right now that we can, because obviously we all know July 15th is the monthly payday, right? The third Tuesday of the month. Some pay is obviously weekly. We know that, but we're focusing in right now to make sure we get all the volume in this month as we possibly can, right? So that's a big thing that's driving impending events. Now, I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about that urgency culture. Urgency culture is so critical, I think, in our business, because urgency, my mentor said, without a sense of urgency, desire loses its value. Without a sense of urgency, desire loses its value. So we always want to have a sense of urgency. We always want to know, like, we want to get things done first minute instead of last minute, right? We know that. So let's talk a little bit about that, creating that culture. And when you think about a culture, I look at Halloween, right? Halloween's a prime example in our country. It's just so random, right? I mean, if you go to other countries, they're like, you guys dress up on October 30th. You have your kids dress up and go get candy from strangers. And this is wild. But that's a culture that's been established, right? Elf on the Shelf's like kind of a new one, right? If you've got little kids, you know about Elf on the Shelf. You're like, where did this guy come from, right? So there's certain cultures that are been established. And let me just give you a couple reminders on the right cultures are very easy to maintain, but they take time to create. You've got to focus to create that right culture in your organization. And the culture right now that we're establishing this month is mainly that 1,000 SP. Everybody's running to get that 1,000 SP and create that culture. Once you've established a culture in your organization, it's very hard to change a culture. Like trying to cancel Halloween would be hard, right? I mean, it's like we're all doing it no matter what, right? So once you establish a culture in your organization, it's very hard to change it. And always remember, the right culture is easier to create with your newer teams. I think one of the things I respect the most about the leadership at Remon that we've got on this team is they're always focusing in on building new teams. Everybody's always focused on building new teams and leading by example, because they know that their teams are going to duplicate what they do, right? We all know that our teams are going to duplicate what we do. And our organization understands the management trap, right? Our team understands the management trap, and we never fall prey to it. We're always building new lines of business and leading by example, because we know our team's going to do what we do, not what we say, right? And the other thing I love about what we're doing here is everybody understands what we do duplicates. Everybody realizes whatever it is that we do is going to duplicate. So we're always leading by example. All right. You look at the leaders in this organization, everybody's always leading by example. They're always building new teams and developing new organizations. And that's what I love about this team that we've got here at Remon. So I want to make sure you understand, this is something that this has really helped us out a lot in Remon since we've gotten started in Remon in the last year and a half, is understanding that in the last 48 hours of the month, we're going to do the majority of the volume. And the majority of the volume is coming in those last 48 hours in the month. So we want to make sure that everybody hits manager, senior manager right away. So if somebody hits senior manager or manager right now today, as soon as they hit senior manager, they're going to start getting paid as a senior manager. So all the volume that comes in at the end of the month, they're going to get paid on that, right? They're going to get paid as a manager, senior manager. But if we wait till the last minute, right? I talked about you always want to be a first minute type leader, not a last minute type leader. If you wait till the last moment, then they're not going to get paid on all that volume, right? They're not going to get manager pay on that volume. They're not going to get senior manager pay on all that volume. So we want to make sure that we've got everybody running to become a manager right now, like right now. And that's something that we've really seen really drive a lot of business is really navigating. I think that's a law of navigation. When you look at that, that's really what navigating as a leader is all about, right? So let's talk a little bit more about this urgency culture. This is the biggest thing that, people always ask me is like, why are your team leaders making so much money? It's because we teach right from the beginning. You want to have 10 team leader. You want to have, to be a team leader, the requirement's 3, but you never want to make your minimums or maximums. What you want to do is you want to have a solid team leader foundation. This is what I call the solid foundation. If you've got 10 legs as senior managers and you're a team leader, you're going to be making a substantial amount of income, right? But if you've only got 3 legs, just think about it. If you've got 3 legs as senior managers and I've got 10 legs as senior managers, who do you think is going to be able to have a bigger check, right? So you want to teach people right from the beginning, okay? It takes 3, but you want to have 10. Because if you get everybody running for 10, when they hit team leader, they're going to have a solid foundation. So we all know you build wide for profitability, right? You build depth for stability. I always like to have a lot of legs, right? That's really what I like to teach, because I look at every organization that you start as a new profit center, right? It's like a new stream of income, and you want to teach, train, and duplicate, right? So it's always important to understand, because if you just got 3 legs and you just focus on those 3 legs and you try to get those 3 legs to become, whatever rank that you want them to get to, and you don't have that with your team's going to duplicate what you're doing, right? And obviously with the unilevel, the higher you go on level 1, the bigger your level 6 is going to be, right? So you want to make sure, obviously, that you teach your people right from the beginning. I don't shy away from it, right? It doesn't mean that you won't become a team leader with, like, some people had team leader with 4 or 5 senior managers, but you really don't have that really solid foundation until you got those 10 legs, right? So it might take you a little bit longer once you hit team leader, but you want to focus on that strength, because your team's going to duplicate you. And then obviously once you become a director, all the directors that are making an incredible amount of income have all got 10 legs of team leaders, right? I think whenever we hit director, the first month, I think, we did like 1.5 million in volume as a director. And that was pretty big, right? And the reason is because we had 10 legs, right? So when you hit director with 10 legs of team leaders, your organization is going to be so strong, and you're gonna make a substantial amount of income. That's the magic, right? And obviously, once you become a senior director, you want to create as many director legs as possible, right? So it's very simple to do. It's simple to say, it's not simple to do. It takes work, but I mean, work is super simple, right? What do? We just find people with wrinkles, right? It's like, just find a face and put some product on it, and boom, you're off to the races in Remon, right? So the biggest urgency culture right now is obviously understanding urgency like never before. Monday night, 11:59 Pacific, June 30th, pay period deadline, and creating that urgency. And once you create that urgency inside, it's easy to transfer that excitement into other people. So let's talk about how you start will duplicate. I'm going to go through these real fast. I'm going to get out of the way and get Mr. Danny Bay up. But if somebody gets started at a 300 SP, right? If I get a 300 SP pack and I want to become a senior manager, I have to recruit 19 people, right? So whatever you do is going to duplicate, right? And I'm just showing you an example of what an X-Line kit could possibly look like. Now let's talk about if I get started with 1,000-point set. I get started with the starter set plus at 1,000. I need to duplicate that 5 times to be able to get to senior manager, right? Now, if I get started with a 1,500-point set, then guess what I need to do? I duplicate that 3 times, and guess what? Bam, I'm a senior manager. So however you start will duplicate. So it's so important to understand it's about starting successful if you want to be successful, right? I know some people are like, Tim, I don't have the resources to be able to get one of these sets. Well, then guess what? Get started where you can, right? But what you want to do is you want to recruit yourself, find good quality people that can obviously, really build this business fast, right? And when I got started, what I did is I looked at the pay plan. I'm like, and then when I found out about this, I said, this is a no-brainer. When somebody gets started, we all know we're getting paid on the BP. So if I sell or buy 3,000 SP, right? I'm going to get $232, whether it's in rebate or, it's 50% rebate. If I buy it, if I sell it, it's obviously commissions. And on that next 3,000 if I personally sell it or buy it, I'm going to get 464. But here's what's remarkable. When I got started, when I found out that I could leapfrog past manager, and I got started with 6,000 personal SP in one transaction, basically what I found out is that I'm going to skip that 10% pay, and I'm going to get paid $928 on it, right? So I'm going to get 20% on that 6,000 instead of the 10 and the 20. So to me, it just made sense, because I want to hit senior manager as fast as possible, so I could obviously unlock, the bigger overrides, right? So this is not for everybody, and I like to explain it to people. If you hit senior manager in one transaction and leapfrog past planner, you get manager pay, but understand that only ordering 4 premium sets is 6,000 SP. You're going to get obviously 20% rebate. And then you guys all know, if you get your lifetime customers, you can unlock obviously even more money there. But just don't think about, if somebody doesn't have the ability to be able to promote the products, right? And they're like, I just want to get started there to be able to get started there. That's silly, right? You want to make sure they have the means. I had a lot of buddies that had skin. So I was like, I'll get started. I'll get these packs and I'll sell them, in the first week, right? And it actually happened the first week, and I was gone out of my product. So for me, it was like, that was a no-brainer. But I always make sure that people understand this. Not that I promote this, because I don't encourage people to do this unless they're really serious. But for me, I did it. And the reason is because I knew I could make it happen. But if I was to find out later on down the road, I would have been bummed, right? I would have been like, man, I wish I would have known about this, because I would have done it, right? Because some people obviously, they know they can promote the products, right? So what I want to show you guys right now is know the difference in the pay. And I'm just going to talk briefly about this. This is how much you earn on your customer's BP, right? So if I'm a planner Okay, and I get 4,000 in personal customer BP, I'm going to get 10% on that, right? And obviously, that's a no-brainer, right? So I'm going to make 400 in income. And obviously, as a manager, right? If I get 4,000 in personal customers, and I get unlock my the retailer bonus, right? Now I'm going to get paid 20%, right? Because I'm getting actually 20% plus the extra 10%. So I can actually get 30% as a manager. As a senior manager, I'm going to get that 30% plus that extra 10%, right? So I'm going to get that 1,600, right? If I'm a team leader, right, I'm going to get I'm going to get 40% plus that extra 10% on that personal customer BP. So I'm going to make 2,000 on that. So you want to realize that top retailer bonus is very, very important. And it's exciting because obviously as a planner, we can earn it too as well. I just didn't put it there because once you get 4,000, you're obviously going to be a manager, right? So I didn't show it there, but you guys know how it works, right? So I want to just show you guys, we talked about this earlier. This is an incredible amount of income. And I'm going to give you guys some examples, right? This is like, we all know if we introduce the business to three, who introduced it to three, who introduced it to three, and we build that organization like that, you're going to have, if everybody's having that 3,000 BP, if everybody has 1,000 BP, that's what it's going to look like. And your payout's going to be about 33,000, right, a month. But what I want to show you is in order to get three, you're going to probably need to get 10 or 20 people, right, that are going to duplicate what you're going to do. Because some people are just going to want to get customers. So you might need to go a little bit, like, you're definitely going to want to go a little bit wider than three. But we're just showing you an example. If you only do 10%, right, you're going to make 3,300. And if you double it, you're going to make 66,000. So what's important is this is just the unilevel, plus you get that differential payout. So there's so much money available for us. All we've got to do is use, talk, demo. Use the products, talk about the products, demonstrate the products, and we're going to win big. And obviously, these are the starter sets. If somebody gets started at a 300-point starter set, this is the income that we're going to earn on the unilevel commissions. This is on top of, obviously, the differential. If people are getting started at 1,000 SP, this is what that income is going to look like per level. So if somebody gets started on our first level, just on the 5%, we know that we get, obviously, the differential payout too, but there's just a lot of extra, all this is extra money, right? If you help somebody, in personal SP get 3,000 or 6,000 personal SP, this is what you're going to earn per level if you help people do this. So that you can do it, you can build this thing as big as you want. Just realize this is just the unilevel pay. There's so much more money available to us right now in this payout. We just got to make sure everybody unlocks that unilevel pay, which is that extra, so they can earn it. So these are the starter sets. If you sponsor people, this is adding the unilevel and the differential together. So like, give an example. If I'm a planner and I sponsor a 300-point set, right, I'm going to make $23, right? If I've got the unilevel plus the differential, right? 1,000 sets going to get me 76, 1,500 sets going to give me 116. As a manager, you're looking at 34, 114, 174, depending on the size of the package, right? Senior manager, super simple, 57, 190, 290. As a team leader, you're talking about 80, 266, 406. There's so much money available that's on the table right now. All we've got to do is make sure that nobody leaves that money on the table. So everybody's running to get that done, right? We all know, obviously, as a senior manager, you get that 5% past the level one. This is just on the differential payout. You're getting $11, $39 to $58 past that level one on that 5% override that you get as a senior manager. Some of these stuff, I know you're like, this is a lot of money. Just all you got to do is just share the products with a lot of people. And obviously, we know starter sets, obviously, as a team leader, this is on open line volume, plus you get that unilevel pay. I'm not going to go over too much about this. I'm just going to give you guys an example. If I'm a team leader and in my organization, I have 10 planners get started with 300-point sets, I'm going to get $570, right? If they're sponsored by a planner with no upline senior manager. Now, if I help everybody get started at 1,000-point set, I'm making $1,900, right? If I'm helping people get started with a 1,500-point set, I'm getting $2,900. So it's super important to make sure you understand that you want to create that culture when people get started to make sure that you help them get the starter set that's going to help them benefit the most. And we all know that people that have the bigger starter sets do better in our business because they've got the ability to attract more customers. They've got the products to be able to promote and to set up, if somebody gets started with a 300-point set and they're having a pop-up, they're going to be stingy with the products. Let's face it, right? They're like, oh my God, man, I got to share this stuff with you guys. But if people get started with the bigger sets, we know they're going to share the products and they're going to get, obviously, more customers. They're going to want to have more pop-ups and they're going to sell a lot of products on the spot. So we know from experience, every single one of us knows from experience that the people that we get started, if they get started with a smaller set, they're going to struggle getting customers because they don't have enough products. But the bigger the set, the more they're going to win because they have the products to be able to promote, right? So we want to make sure we understand that the leadership match is through the roof right now. We all know how this works. Obviously, if you're a team leader or higher, you get to unlock this as you develop team leaders. And the example I like to show is if you've got five generation one team leaders that are averaging 10,000 a month in income, you're making 20,000 a month just on those team leaders. It's extra pay from what you're making as a team leader open line volume. Now, if you help them do the same thing, now you're making 50,000 on that generation two. Now, it might take you a few years to do that. And I want to make sure everybody understands that I don't want you to think, oh God, I'm going to create 5 team leaders tomorrow. And then the next day, it takes time. It takes time. It takes learning. It takes development. It takes sharing. But what would happen if that was your monthly income? What if it took you 2 years, right? And then obviously, what if it took you 5 years to create another generation of 5 team leaders, right? You're looking at 5 that you're looking at 190,000 and just your matching bonuses. That's available. Your matching bonuses are incredible in Remon. And that's what this is the way I look at the income, right? So the income, it's going to go kind of like this on your team leader commissions. Your matching bonus is going to go through the roof as you start to multiply your leadership and your unit level. So I look at it as 3 checks. I look at it as 3 pay plans that are available in Remon. You got your team leader commissions, right? And those are going to grow your unit level pay. And then your matching bonus is where the big monster long-term income is going to come out and play out at. So I just want to make sure we talk about closing the month out, breaking down your goals. I'm a big believer in breaking down goals. My mentor told me safety in numbers and law of averages. He said, you got to have a plan, Tim. And I'm a big believer in, having a strategy and a plan. Because when you do something often enough, a ratio is going to appear. And I'm going to talk about ratios in a second. But you want to know your ratios, right? You want to know your ratios. You want to work the numbers. I'm a big believer in inch by inch, it's a cinch, right? Yard by yard is when it becomes hard, right? So keep it simple, right? Keep it simple. And we know that numbers don't lie. I know that if I talk to 10 people, I'm going to get a certain ratio. If I talk to 10 people, I'm going to get a certain ratio. And all I got to do is just talk to people, put the products on the people, and I'm going to win. So I just do the work. I just like to focus in on the work. And the numbers tell the story. My mentor always said, you want to make a box. Track your numbers because your numbers are going to tell you the story. Okay, make the box small so you don't put a story in there, Tim. He said, put a number in there. He goes, all I need is a number. How many people did you talk to today? What was the result? And he helped me focus in on all I got to do is focus on the activity and the productivity will take care of itself. So there's the 5 P's that people all know about in business, right? Proper planning prevents poor productivity. I like to break down my goals. I like to plan my work and work my plan, right? So this is the way that I look at apothecary scale. And I know that we can't control what someone says about the opportunity, whether they say yes or no, right? I can't control whether a customer wants to buy or don't buy. But what I can control is my activity and how many people I talk to, how many people I put this product on every single day. And when I focus on that activity, the productivity is going to go up. When you put a lot of weight on that activity, that's how you tip the scale, so to speak, right? So focus in on the activity and the productivity is going to take care of itself. How do you double your productivity? You just double your activity, right? If this month you talk to a certain amount of people, if you double it next month, you're going to double your volume, right? And if you keep doing that long enough, your team's going to duplicate what you do. And you're going to fall in love with just sharing, right? I just love to share. I love to talk to people. So this is a goal. If somebody wants to, so let's say that you wanted to become a senior manager, right? So I'm just going to give you a goal, right? Let's say if you're a senior manager, you want to do 6,000 in personal BP. I like to use BP because it's easier to figure out. If you divided that average, if the average pop-up is about 500 per pop-up, which is pretty low, but let's just say that's your average. You're going to need 12 pop-ups, right? You're going to need 12 pop-ups. If you do them yourself, or you could include your level 1 people and all count it towards your senior man. Now, obviously, the senior manager only needs 6,000 SP, but I'm giving you the BP example because if you wanted to get 6,000 in BP, you're talking about what is that, like 2,400? What is that, 2,400 in income or whatever? So you just want to have a plan, have a strategy, and always break down your goal, right? Team leaders all know this. This is the strategy that I use. I like to focus on what I can control, which is talking to new people and enrolling new planners. But if I'm building a new line that I want to get 10,000 in BP out of, I want to help them get 10,000 in BP so they're on track to be a team leader. Because you need 50,000 over 5 months, right? We all know that as a team leader, and that's in SP. I talk about BP because that's what I like to focus on. But if you talk about 10,000 in BP divided by, if my average planners are getting started with 750 points, I need about 13 planners to get started, right? And if I'm signing up about 1 out of 4 people, that means I need to expose about 53 people at total to be able to get that goal met. And if I'm working 25 days a week, 25 days a year, I mean, 25 days a month, excuse me, I'll get it right here. Yeah, it's about 2.1 people a day, right? So I like to break things down. If I wanted to do 25,000 and using that same math, I need to get, 5.3, I need 5.3 exposures a day. If I want to do 100,000 in volume, and it's not just you, it's your entire organization, right? So if you've got 10 people, talking to 2.1 people a day, you're going to get, you're going to get your 10,000 goals. So goals are easy to break down. These goals are based upon signing up new, planners, but you're going to have so many people coming in, obviously as customers as well. So if you go after this goal, your goals are going to be way above, obviously these, right? So let's talk a little bit about persistence. I'm going to get out of the way here. Napoleon Hill said it best, right? The 4 steps that lead to the habit of persistence: have a definite purpose backed by planning, by burning desire for its fulfillment. Know what it is that you want, man. You got to get so passionate and fired up about what it is that you want and have that desire. My passion and my desire is to get Remont to $10 billion a year, right? That's what I get fired up about. That's what, when Danny Bay and I talk about stuff, man, that's what we always talk about, getting this company to $10 billion a year. And then you break it down by a plan, right? You just you build plan by plan. Like right now, my goal is to get to 10 million a month in sales, right? In the organization, right? And that's what my goal right now is, focused in on doing that, like hopefully in the next 2 months, like if not this month, next month. And you got to have a plan, and you break it down, and you have to express it in continuous action. If you're taking notes, continuous is that word, continuous action. And you want to close your mind against negative and discouraging influences, including negative relatives, friends, or acquaintances. And you want to have a friendly alliance, right? You want to open your mind against people that are going to encourage you to follow through with your plan. So I always watch out for negative people that are trying to that are trying to derail me from my goal, right? I'm like, it's like, don't believe me, just watch. I guarantee no matter what, I'm going to make it happen. Over, under, or through, because I'm going to do whatever it takes. As long as it takes, I'm going to get the job done. When I got that mindset, I know I'm on fire, and I just love sharing Remont with people. So it becomes that much easier, because I don't really work, even though somebody looks at my schedule and say, man, Tim, you really work a lot. Well, it's not really work when you love it. It's passion. I'm so passionate about sharing this opportunity because I believe it's the best opportunity on the planet. I believe that I found a purple unicorn, man, and I want to let everybody know about it, right? So let's talk a little bit about persistence and a follow-up process, right? Who do we need to follow up with, right? Prospects that have seen Remont that haven't seen Remont yet. Who are prospects that haven't really taken a look at this, man? We want to show them the opportunity before the end of the month, right? Customers that have received their products, we want to follow up with them, find out how they love them, get them to take before and after pictures. And a lot of those are going to convert into planners. They're going to be like, this stuff is awesome, man. I'm going to promote this too. Prospects that have been exposed that haven't gotten started yet. Who are the people that we've already shared Remont with that maybe haven't pulled the trigger yet? Or maybe they pulled the trigger and they haven't got, a set, or maybe they got a little set and they need to upgrade, right? New planners that have just gotten started, right? We want to make sure we lay out a plan with them and help them execute. And existing planners and leaders. The fortune is in the follow-up. Make no mistake about it, right? You want to keep following up, be relentless. This is something Zig Ziglar teaches in the Secrets of Closing Excel. In case you haven't convinced yourself about following up, let's talk a little bit about it. 48% of network marketing distributors never follow up with a prospect. 48, that's ridiculous. 25% of them make a second contact and stop. 12% of them, right, make a third contact and stop. But it's a staggering discovery that only 10% of network marketing distributors make more than 3 contacts. So let's talk about what that means, right? Let's look at what that means. Here's what I want to realize. 2% of the planners get and customers get enrolled on the first contact, right? 2%. 3% get started on the second contact. 5% get started on the third contact. And if only 10% get started on that fourth contact, okay? The 4th to 12th contact, okay? So on the fourth contact, 80% of planners get started. They enroll on the 5th to 12th contact, 80%. So the fortune's in the follow-up. Make no mistake about it. And I don't feel like, people go, man, don't you feel like you're bugging people? No, dude, I found a freaking gold mine. Like I feel obligated. I feel bad when I don't follow up with people. Oh my God, I need to follow up with so-and-so because I feel bad about it, right? You get so sidetracked in helping everybody make money. Sometimes you forget to follow. You got to follow up because there's so many people out there that are looking for a chance or looking for a change. They got their hands up and they're like, man, give me a way. So I want to give you a couple tips here before I get out of the way and bring up Mr. Danny Bay. Be the best part of somebody's day when you follow up. Connect and touch a heart before you ask for a hand. Remember, everyone's tuned into the radio station WIIFM, right? What's in it for me? Focus on people's hot buttons, what they want to do, their family, their occupation, recreation, their motivation, their money. Seek first to understand, then to be understood, right? Always use cushions cushions when you're overcoming objections. I know how you felt the same way, or some people felt the same way. Here's what they found out. Here's what I found out. Always kind of, don't ever argue. Obviously, care more about the person than the transaction. That's the biggest one. Okay, is care more about the person than the transaction. You guys all know what Success Hill looks like, right? Being consistent, right? With your commitment, and not, be consistently consistent, right? You want to be consistently consistent with your commitment, not consistently inconsistent, right? So if you start going and then you start pushing a boulder up the hill, then you let it roll back down, it's going to roll down farther, right? Then you start again and you're like, all right, man, I'm going to get after it. And you start rolling up again, and then you don't, and then it goes all the way back down again, and it goes even farther. And then you get fired up again and you're like, all right, here we go. And then boom, finally make it happen. So you've got to be consistent. You've got to continue to keep on keeping on until you get the results, right? You got to keep on keeping on. You got to stay fired up, right? And that's why, Friday, we got a great training about that, about, making it happen. But understand, today, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you've got to stay on track, effort and results, right? As as your results increase, I keep my effort through the roof, right? But if the beginning, you're going to be putting in a lot of effort, not getting a lot of results because it's just you. But as your team starts to develop after 30 days, after 60 days, after 90 days, the amount of effort you put in, you're going to get a multiple reward for it, right? And that's how you're going to win big, right? But what you want to make sure you do is stay on track, keep on keeping on, because what some people do is they'll get driven off track. They'll stay excited for about 30 days, and then boom, they get off track. So stay focused. Make sure we have a call to action. Have 5 guests on the Thursday overview tomorrow. Get your guests on the overview. This is going to be a great one. Obviously, you want to qualify for the get 3 to unlock the unilevel promo that's going on. Enter all your volume before pay period deadline. We want to make sure everybody gets their hands on the travel sets. Don't let anybody get left behind. And then obviously register for the Roadmap Convention. But I want to get myself out of the way right now. And I wanted to just real quickly kind of give you a little bit of insights on some of the ideas and information that was taught to me early on in my career that helped me become successful. But what I want to do right now is I want to get myself out of the way, because the gentleman right now, I'm just going to let you guys know, I've been in this industry for 30 years and I've never met somebody that works like him. And when you work with somebody that is always leading by example, it's so easy to follow their lead, right? It's like this guy, he leads by example. And I just want you guys to know, it's like, I just love working with them. This has been the best year and a half of my life, man, because it's like, man, I just love getting around people that are committed, and his commitment is unmatched. And you guys getting a chance to be able to be around him and get his influence, you guys, we're so fortunate and we're so lucky. He leads by example. He cares so much about people, and he's going to close out this call and give you really an understanding of where we're going with this opportunity. So, Mr. Danny Bay, it's an honor and a privilege, man. I love you so much, and appreciate you taking out some time to meet with us, because we're fired up and passionate, man. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Tim Herr. Hello, everyone. Team 1%. Very excited to see everyone. Hello, Brooke, Danielle, Kathy, Wynn, Mrs. Wynn, Cindy Whittington, Jenny, Trixie. Great to see everybody. I am super excited to connect with so many of you here. I have to let you know how blessed you are to be having access to live trainings by Mr. Tim Herr like this all the time. And I see you guys taking notes, and I know some of you guys maybe don't have camera on, but you're focusing the training. I just want to really congratulate all of you and remind you of something you already know, which is it's very rare to have someone like Mr. Tim Herr and Mr. Chris Kim as a coach, as a partner, as a mentor, that is constantly pouring in to teach valuable information that is going to help you to go from where you are to where you want to go. So if we could maybe put it in the chat box, if you appreciate, if you want to show some appreciation to Mr. Tim Herr for his leadership and his incredible training today, can we type in number 9? I like number 9. Can we type in number 9 in the chat box and show some appreciation to Mr. Tim Herr? I'll tell you why I like number 9. 9 is the largest number in the digit that you're in. And I like thinking big, and I believe there's a power in thinking big. And, 9, that's the reason why I like 9. Plus, my birthday's on the 9th. So there are a lot of reasons to like 9. All right. Well, I want to just spend a few minutes since we already been on this incredible training call with Mr. Timmer. I just want to spend a few minutes and share with you some of the thoughts that Mr. Timmer asked me to share about how can we help everybody to really create the right habits and really do the right activities to maximizing the results of the month. Whenever I work with different leaders, let's face it, if somebody is not putting in any efforts, there's not much you could do. Would you agree with that? You can't gain muscles without exercising. You can get to a different city without going through the proper journey. It doesn't matter if it's flying or driving or however the transportation process is going to be. Without taking the journey, without action, it's impossible to get results. But we're here because we are the ones that we are action takers. We have plans, we have goals, we have dreams, and we have reasons, and we have things that we want to accomplish with Remon community and Remon opportunity. Maybe it's for your family, maybe it's for you personally, maybe you just have some clear goals that you have set for financial goals, or maybe life achievement goals, or whatever it may be. Maybe you have those things, and that's why we're all here today. What I like to spend time talking about is, since we're putting in the action anyways, we're putting in the effort anyways, how can we maximize? How can we maximize the results in the shortest amount of time for the effort that we're putting in to doing what we're doing? And that's, I guess, in a way, you could call that being efficient. In a way, you could call that being more productive, right? And that's what I want to talk to you guys about, because today is already June 25th of year 2025. We only have 5 days left this month. And this month, June, has been a very, very special month. As many of you know, that this is going to be a month that many people are going to talk about for many months and many years from now, because this is the month that we are starting something so new that we never had before. Mr. Tim Herr just did an incredible training explaining about the unilevel, and also explaining how we could participate and maximize unilevel compensation, which is extra compensation we didn't have last month or the month before. We never had prior to this month. So a lot of people don't even realize that their income is going to go up a lot starting this month for doing the same activities they were doing already prior to this month. Their income is going to go up. A lot of people, they're going to get paid on customers they didn't get paid in the month of May, with this unilevel compensation being added this month. So this is going to be a very, very special month. Some people already understand it. Many people don't understand it yet because it's new and they haven't experienced the compensation from it yet. But when the July 15th comes around, which is the first payment of unilevel for the month of June being paid on the third Tuesday of July, which is July 15th, every single one of us that have unlocked 1,000 SP and 10 customers this month to unlock unilevel and participate, we're going to be very, very excited, and we're going to be very confident for our future after experiencing unilevel starting this month. So this is a very, very exciting month. So let's talk about how do we maximize next 5 days? How do we maximize to really close the month of June strong? I want to talk to you about one of my favorite lessons that I've learned in my entrepreneurship career, which is talking about a topic called power of focus. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about power of focus. Now, just so we could all relate, let me ask you a question. Any of you ever had something like this happen to you? You got so busy, life is busy, and you got, family, work, and just a lot of things going on. And your house is getting, a little unorganized. And it's been several days. Matter of fact, it's been a couple of weeks. And you're thinking, man, I got to redo my closet. I got to reorganize, man. I got to clean my house. But things are just getting unorganized and piling up. And it's been in your mind every day for several days, if not several weeks of time. Your spouse calls you, your husband calls you, your wife calls you, and they say, honey, I'm 20 minutes from the house. ended up meeting my longtime friend I haven't seen for a long time. And we had great lunch or dinner. And you know, since we're only 20 minutes from the house, I want to have him come over to the house and see you and see the kids. So we're going to be coming over in about 20 minutes. Can you get some fruits and get some snacks ready? We'll be home in 20 minutes. How many of you ever received a phone call or text message like that before? A lot of us have, right? And guess what happens? You become a superwoman. House that you couldn't organize for days, if not weeks of time. And just by thinking about it, what was overwhelming you just by thinking about it, after receiving a phone call with the clear deadline that in 20 minutes I need my house presentable and I have to get my house ready, in 20 minutes you were able to do what you couldn't do in 5 weeks prior. In 20 minutes, you solved the problem that's been overwhelming you and stressing you out for days, if not weeks of time. What happened? It's same house, it's same task, it's same you. Your skill didn't change. The environment didn't change. The task itself didn't change. But what did change is having a clear deadline and you not doing it wasn't an option anymore. You know, it wasn't an optional thing anymore. You made up your mind that I have to get it done. It wasn't want to anymore. It became have to, and it became must. And with the clear deadline. And what happened was now you tap in to supernatural power in you that you didn't even know that you existed. And you can move so fast in that 20 minutes. You could get the house ready and get fruits and snacks and drinks ready already on the table before they arrive at the house in 20 minutes of time. So is it possible? Is it possible for someone? Is it possible for someone to do more in 20 minutes than what they have done in the last 20 days of time? Answer is yes. If you get used to intentionally accessing your deeper power, which only comes when you set a deadline and when you start using the power that comes from focus. Does that make sense? You know, a lot of people say, "Hey, Danny, you have 3 kids, your wife, and you're a parent, and you're business. You're busy. You travel 7 countries almost every single month. And like, how do you manage it all? You're involved at church, and like you're busy. How do you do it? Here's what I apply that Mr. Jim Rohn taught in many of his trainings. He said, wherever you go, be 100% there. A lot of times we're with our kids worried about our business. Sometimes we're with doing our business, but we're worried about problems at home, right? Sometimes people go to maybe church and they're worried about their work, and they're at work and they're worrying about what's happening with their, I got to pay this bill. I got to do all these life things, right? And because of it, we're really never that effective, because wherever we are mentally, we're in 10 different places at once. And because of it, whatever I'm working on, I'm only effective 10% or 20%, giving my 25%. I want to encourage you to try this for next 5 days of time. It doesn't matter if your time committed in Remont is maybe only 2 hours in a day. Maybe it's only 4 hours. Maybe some of you are a little more committed. You got some big goals. Maybe it's 5 hours. Maybe it's 8 or 10 hours. Whatever the hours is, it doesn't matter. Even if it's only 2 or 3 hours a day that you're going to commit to building your Remont business, I want to encourage every single one of you for those hours. Doesn't matter if it's 2 or 5 or 10. I want to encourage you to apply power of focus and give your absolute very best in whatever you're trying to accomplish. Make the list. Instead of thinking about contacting them, if you made a list, in those 2 hours of time, don't let a single minute go to waste or mind wander off and get distracted. For those 2 hours, you're focused, you're phone call, and you're being very effective and very productive, because you could do more. Truthfully, you could do more. That's 2 weeks of time. And if you do, you will be amazed at how much results you could create in just short 5 days of time. I believe that every single one of you that's here right now, you could do more in next 5 days than you've done in first 25 days combined of this month, in the month of June. This month, we have a lot of reasons to do well. This is the month that everybody's going to talk about. This month, with Unilevel beginning, many people that just by unlocking 1,000 SP and 10 customers, they're going to have access to additional income. Every manager, every planner and manager, if they could upgrade to a senior manager before this month ends with same 1,000 SP, with same 10 customers, just by upgrading and becoming a senior manager, instead of getting 2 levels, now they could get 4 levels of Unilevel on top of their personal commission going from 20% to 30%. So we want to encourage every single one of us to make a list of people that are already in your team, people that are that you're thinking about contacting. Let's make a list, and next 5 days, doesn't matter if it's 2 hours or 5 hours or 10 hours, let's give our absolute very best, and you apply power of focus into your business and see what you could absolutely accomplish in the next 5 days of time. I love the fact that in life that, it's not what happens to you determines the future. It's what you do about what happens to you that you get to influence and determine the future. And just like Mr. Timmer talked about earlier, focus on the areas that you could control. Focus on the things that you could do. Focus on how you respond to different things that happens every single day. And you will not be a victim of life and victim of situations, but you will be a victor of every opportunity that comes your way. I love the saying that in our business, either you're growing your business or the business is growing you. Either you're building your business or the business is building you. And I believe that more the opportunity, more growing opportunity and difficulties come with. Mr. Jim Rohn, someone asked Mr. Jim Rohn, which is my mentor, someone asked him, how do you describe life? He said, if I could describe life in one sentence, I would describe life as opportunities mixed with difficulties. It seems like every opportunity that appears in life is always mixed with difficulties. And as we know that in life, people becoming a great success in life, it's not matter of talent. It's not matter of skill. It's not matter of knowledge. It's not matter of how smart they are. Actually, it's a matter of being resilient, and it's a matter of being consistent. It's a matter of keep on keeping on. It's a matter of doing it until. It's a matter of, having the mentality like Mr. Timmer talked about, doing whatever it takes until the job is done, and having that never giving up attitude and mindset is the way for every successful person that ever became a national director, senior director, director, team leader, or whatever your goal may be in Remont, have achieved their success with Remont. So, this month, let's really focus next 5 days. Whatever level that you have accomplished so far, let's focus on you upgrading to next level by at the end of the month. If you're a planner, manager, let's do our absolute best to become a senior manager by at the end of the month. If you haven't unlocked the Unilevel yet, let's work on you unlocking your Unilevel this month. And if you have already done it yourself, let's help 3 people to do it this month and also access extra bonus as we're helping people to do it. So it's really great to connect with all of you. I'm your biggest cheerleader. Maybe some of you, I watch a lot of you on social media. If you're posting Instagram or Facebook, welcome to tag me and message me. I will do my best to connect with all of you and support all of you and share your content as well. And let's really close out the month of June strong. All right. And we appreciate your time. Looking forward to seeing you next time. Let's close month of June strong, and let's get you the biggest bonus and commission from Unilevel starting right now this month in the month of June. Thanks for having me on the call today, Mr. Timmer. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you guys next time. God